Hello and welcome to Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight from Ward 8 is Councilman Mark Schmidt. Mark, how you doing?
Good evening. How you doing? Fine.
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. We had, finally a meaty agenda. These have been pretty lightweight for a little bit.
Yeah, they have.
And we had a lot of first readings. We'll get to those in a little bit. So I bet you we have a busy next meeting too.
Yes, it looks that way. So
And
good.
5 public hearings started off the agenda tonight. The first one, it was a request to authorize an amendment. This is a special use permit to AM and LB. It allows for the renovations of a B1 zoning district. It's a property located at 3575 Parker Spur, and they're just trying to change, reconfigure the building. This is an old gas station.
Right. It's the gas station.
The service bays.
It's a Phillips 66 that's located right there at Parker Spur and Newhall's Ferry. What they want to do is enlarge their area into more of a convenience store. So right now they have 3 service bays. They just want to eliminate one of their service bays and then also enclose the outside of their building where their restrooms are on. If you're looking at the front of the building on the left side, they're outside restrooms. Well, they would just want to enclose that little porch area and put it completely undercover and inside the building, and then take one bay and be allowed to expand their convenience store, their inside area, to a little bit larger store. So it's actually not, it's actually pretty simple.
Well, if you've been in that location, you
Yes.
know that there's not a lot of room. No. Once you get in there,
once you get in the door,
you're at the checkout.
You're
you don't
there.
really have room to maneuver around the next guy trying to get his bottle of pop, and they're not going to add on a liquor license. They're really not going to sell anything else that they don't sell now.
Right.
They're just going to be able to carry a little bit more of it,
right,
and give the patrons a little bit more space to work around.
I think that's all it is.
And I think they put a contingency on there that the mechanic Joe, he's got to stay.
Yeah, the mechanic and the 2 bays will still be there. So.
That's good. That's good. The second public hearing tonight, it was a request to approve the final subdivision of a re-subdivision in the northwest quarter block of Old Town, St. Ferdinand. It's dividing one lot into 2, the property at 610 Rue, St. Francois. Explain a little bit about this singular property right now and why it's becoming 2.
Yeah, it's just a single piece of property, and there's a business located on it, and all they want to do is separate the business to the back part of the lot, which is kind of where it is now. They just want to officially subdivide it so it's its own entity as opposed to the front lot. So it's really same owners own both property or all the property. It's just a simple what we call subdivision. It's for legal purposes and business purposes, basically. I'm sure what they're doing it for.
Is the front lot then residential?
I believe it is.
Okay. Mark, the third public hearing tonight was a request to authorize a special use permit to Bell Brown Enterprises LLC, doing business as Bell Brown Medical College. They want to allow the operation of a medical education facility at 470 Howdershell Road. This was a couple of ladies that came in tonight. It looks like they want to open up a small medical school and teach students how to draw blood.
That's
CPR.
It. That's pretty much it. I think it's just a simple medical school that all they really want to do is, well, I think it's kind of a twofold thing. I think they want to teach how to teach students how to draw blood, and I think as well as doing some medical assisting and a little bit of that paperwork that goes along with it. Mostly when you're in the doctor's offices. Obviously, to draw blood is a singular thing, but then you also follow it up with the paperwork. So I think it's kind of a twofold thing. So it's I don't know exactly how long the classes will last, but there's going to be a 7-day operation there, Saturday and Sunday mornings, and then pretty much all day on Monday through Friday. So that's basically it. Yeah.
They're allowing students to get up. I think they mentioned 3 different national certifications for use. Then there was a request to amend the zoning code, section 405, paragraph J, to allow for a B5 rezoning properties proposed to be rezoned by the commercial, by city's comprehensive plan. Planning and zoning recommended approval here on March 7th. Tell us a little bit about the city's comprehensive plan and these rezonings, this B5 and what's going on. That had quite a bit of discussion here tonight.
We'll try and do this simply. Every city has what they call a comprehensive plan. And in that plan contains what that city has determined as to what area in that city is zoned and then for what purpose. so that when you pull out a map, you can look at it and say, okay, all this is residential, and that's the way it's zoned and should stay. And then mostly what you'll see along our main corridors, Lindbergh and New Halls Ferry for the most part, you'll see a different color, and that'll be our commercial districts with all commercial property. What we have here in this particular instance is an anomaly at a certain area of the city over on Ward 6 on Lindbergh, right at the, I guess it's Jefferson Avenue, right across from Coke Park, basically. There's 3 residential properties that face Lindbergh, which a couple of them have already been commercial use. I guess the one everybody's more familiar with is the one right there on the corner, which used to be the Enterprise rental office for a long time, for years. And then they ended up, they wanted a larger space, they moved across the street. But that lot technically is zoned residential. However, it's basically a commercial lot. It's been a commercial lot for as long as I can remember, being on city council. So it's an anomaly that it's not zoned commercial. What the city has proposed to do is, with this public hearing, is take those 3 lots and rezone them B5. B5 is our most intense zoning code and allows the city council lots and lots of flexibility, what can and can't go there, and what special stipulations we can require of businesses going into those types of zones. The biggest example I give to you of B5 was Cross Keys. When we redid Cross Keys, that was zoned B5. We had much flexibility in what we could do there, requesting landscaping, screening from residents, overall parking, just everything that goes into that. We have so much more control in a B5. What is seemingly to be proposed for that particular lot, although that public hearing was continued tonight, is a new building to be built on that lot. They want to tear down that existing old house that's on that lot and build a new building for a new enterprise, for a new business. And with the way that our zoning is right now on that particular lot, they really can't do that. So that's why this kind of comes around. Okay. That it's really trying to clean up those three particular lots right there that have just kind of slipped through the cracks over the years. We've just gone from one little small entity to another. I mean, that's been a rental lot for so many years. Before it was Enterprise, I believe Hertz was in there. It's just been so many different little things that it's never come to anybody's attention that we really should rezone it properly. So that's why. Those
properties right there, now if they aren't rezoned into a B5 through this, what are some other uses that they could be? I mean, what are we fairly limited there?
We are limited a little bit, and mostly they would be special permits. So anything that would go in there would have to come before the city, and we wouldn't have a whole lot of control over them. They couldn't really change anything substantially. They couldn't add on to buildings. They couldn't really build buildings. So that B5, they can do that, and we have a lot more control over that. So okay. That's kind of the crux of it. It's a little bit more complicated, and it's hard to explain in a short period of time. But I guess that's the best way I can do it. It just gives the city council a lot more latitude in what we can and can't do with that particular lot, and what can go in there, and how we can control what goes in there.
And the public hearing that was continued tonight that Mark was speaking about is the request to rezone for Talk Properties LLC. It's a property that's located there at 1090 North Highway 67. That'd be from an R4 single-family district to a B5 planned commercial district. That was to allow for an urgent care facility. It's been continued to April 26th.
Give them another month to get this resolved, both on our side and their side. So.
And for the public that's used to the council meetings happening on a Monday, this is continued to
Tuesday,
to the 26th, which is a Tuesday. Right. For other reasons we'll kind of get to.
We can talk about that a little later on why we did that.
There was a second reading tonight, ordinance authorizing the amendment to special use permit number 8130 MAG Automotive LLC to allow for the expansion of an existing auto body repair business to include a paint shop in a B3 zoning. So this business has another building behind it. That's what they're going to use as their
Right. They just want to put a paint shop in there, and we had a public hearing on this last meeting.
Okay. And that passed tonight with no issues. No board appointments tonight. There was one resolution that came to the table. This was determining the intent of the city of Florissant and the Egan Center to reimburse itself for certain capital expenditures.
This ties into one of our ordinances that's a little bit later on, and I guess we can go ahead and discuss it. We'll just skip it when we get to that. We are contracting with a company called CTS to do some renovation work up at James J. Egan Center, specifically on our HVAC equipment, our heating, cooling, and ventilation systems. And it's an energy savings program. Meaning they design the work, they perform the work by hiring the contractors, and they guarantee the work, and they guarantee specific savings of the city over a period of years that is reflected on our energy bills, electric, and most of the time it's just electric, very little on the gas side. But they guarantee those savings. So much so that if we don't reap those savings on a yearly basis, but just spell out in the contract, they will reimburse the city up to that savings. So, whereas it's a blanket, not a blanket contract, but it's a contract with an outside entity that will come in and do this completely on their own, won't involve any city staff, or very little city staff. It's a $4 million contract, I believe. So what this is basically doing, this resolution, is saying that we're going to go out with our certificates of participation bonds, which are, like everybody knows by the name, it's a COP bond. We've used this mechanism for the past 20 years to do numerous things with the city, be it buy a piece of property, be it improve some of our buildings and other things, remodel certain areas of our city. These bonds have been used over the years. Unless we have very, very good credit rating with them, we get a very, very low interest rate on these bonds. So it's very advantageous to continue using them and keep them active, in which this is what it'll do. So it's just our intent to reimburse the city through using our COP bonds.
Okay.
So
that brings us, Mark, to bills for first reading tonight. And here's where the agenda got a little bit lengthy. We've got a full page of first readings tonight. First one was ordinance amending code section 125.065. This is a wage increase in schedule. Section A, job classifications and grade level, by adding a new position for the corrections transport officer. So grade 5 for the police department.
yeah, I think the police department just wants to add somebody so they have somebody available to transfer prisoners back and forth out of the city. Presently, they use a regular officer, which sounds great, except now you're taking an officer and a police car off the streets.
Okay.
And which could be doing much better use of his time than just simply transporting a prisoner and or picking up a prisoner from another city to transport to our city. So this just kind of helps with that. It gives us somebody that can do that. So that's why.
There was an ordinance amending the general fund budget to reflect $47,000 from asset forfeiture funds, and these will be just for anticipated expenditures for the police department.
Yeah.
That passed in 3 readings tonight.
Yeah, that was
usually do.
Yeah, this is no brainer. Again, these are funds that are already allocated to us through the forfeiture fund account. They're basically sitting escrow until the police department determines a use for them, and they have for this $47,000. I believe I can give you a quick rundown of what I think they're going to spend that money on. They want to buy some new computer software for scheduling, so scheduling software, some computer equipment, some bulletproof vests, vehicle equipment, and some training. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what they're going to use that money for. So it all has to be used by the police department when it comes to those forfeiture funds. So it actually helps the city budget, then we don't have to shell out that money of $47,000 for the request that they want. So it's good.
Mark, also passing in 3 readings tonight was the authorization for the mayor to enter into a contract for the installation of that HVAC system that you just mentioned here a second ago.
Right, and that's what we were talking about just a second ago with using those COP bonds. This is the contract that we're entering into with CTS. It's for the installation and maintenance of equipment for the James J. Egan Center, and specifically it's our heating, cooling, and air conditioning equipment. There are some lights involved and some other things that are energy efficient, but for the most part it's some new equipment, basically all brand new equipment at the city. Going to a heat pump system, gives us a lot more flexibility with heating and cooling, specific rooms, new air handlers. It's just a total upgrade and should be accomplished in the span of about 6 to 8 months, I believe.
Well, when was the last time the HVAC system had really undergone that?
It has never been replaced since the building's been new. So it's been Band-Aid over the years.
Good point to be made right now.
And yeah, it's been Band-Aided over the years, and it's high time that we go in there and just kind of replace everything.
Good.
Everything has a useful length of service, and our equipment is beyond its length of service. So,
Mark, the next 4 first readings, these were all from the public hearings tonight, so we won't spend too much time on them unless you'd like. But we had the Parker Spur, which was the gas station renovation, had 1 reading tonight. That's the re-subdivision of the block in Old Town, went one reading tonight. The Bell Brown Medical College, 1 reading. And the first reading for that zoning code change for allowing the B5 rezonings of those isolated properties here in Florissant. There's also an ordinance authorizing a transfer of $7,500 account for building maintenance and supplies. This is dealing with the golf course. It's going to be transitioned over for golf course equipment repair. So building maintenance to
equipment
different repairs.
It's just that time of the year, and it's been determined by staff that the golf course is just kind of overwhelmed right now at this time of year with getting our equipment ready. As anybody who's looked outside in their yard notices that the grass is starting to grow. I had to cut my grass over the weekend. And all of a sudden it kind of just pops up, and for some reason certain things just got let go. Well, all of a sudden they're inundated with trying to get all the equipment ready and going all around at the same time. So staff is a little overwhelmed, and this is to help farm out some of that equipment. We're going to outsource some of this repair work so that it's not all in-house, unfortunately. Due to some health reasons with our mechanic, he was on and off with the winter time, so some things just fell through the crack, and now all of a sudden we need this equipment running, and it's not completely running and in shape to run. So city staff is working on as hard as they can, but we have lots of other responsibilities too in the city, so we can't just pull everybody and put them here and do this and not getting anything else done. So it's just going to allow us some flexibility to basically outsource some of our repair work for the golf course.
Speaking of repair work, that brings up the next bill. This is funds of $58,500 from the Park Improvement Fund. This is maintenance and supplies from Coke Pool for various repairs, replacement expenses there at the Family Aquatic Center. It's got a number of repairs that just need to be made so that way the facility can open up for the summer.
We had some very heated discussions at budget time about Coke Park. It was brought to our attention that we had some serious problems that needed to really be addressed. Obviously the biggest one was our slide tower, which by now most people know it's no longer in existence. We had to tear it down. It was just falling apart. It had basically rusted itself away.
Oh gosh.
So we've had to take that down. We knew we had a leak in the pool. That leak has been addressed now. We know where it's at and what to do. But there were some other things that just we didn't completely have a handle on at budget time. So we formed a committee of city council and city staff to really kind of dig into Coke Park and kind of give us an overall view of really what we want to do with it. You know, is it ready time to shut it down and start thinking about doing something different? You know, and it's a hard decision. You know, you can't always do that. So it was determined that with these repairs, we could get a few more years, useful years out of that park by a lot of with this $58,000. And I don't want to go down the whole list, but it's a very extensive list of what needs to be done up there. So hopefully that'll last for a few years. We get some more years out of it. In the meantime, council can have some discussions of what we overall want to do with that park. As everyone knows, that's one of the first water parks that was built in the city area. So now it's one of the oldest, and it's one of the most outdated. If anybody has seen some of the newer parks that have been built, Hazelwood's, some of the county ones, they've far surpassed what we have. Well, so it's going to be keeping up with the Joneses, and I'm sure that eventually we're going to have to try and find some money and figure it out, maybe put some money away for a few years in order to redo our water park. So that's what we're going to start looking at.
Will that committee that was formed for this purpose stay together then for the next
I believe they probably will, and
get a good grasp on
I think
what
and
is
start
next
to
for
work.
Florissant?
Yeah, and start to work around some ideas and take a look and see what can and can't be done over the next few years. We kind of did the same thing, if people remember, with Bangor Park. We knew Bangor Pool needed to be redone. And the last year it was open, we just kind of nursed it along. And we did the same thing. We took a real hard look at it. And although I don't think we formed a specific committee, we did look at it real hard for 2 years with City Council and actually set funds aside for 2 years straight, designated for the idea of redoing Bangor Pool. And then once we pulled the trigger, we had some funds available. And then I think we also used some of our COP funds, our budget, participation bond funds to help subsidize as well, and we redid Bangor Pool. So I'm sure something similar will happen with Coke Park once we get to that area too in a few years.
Okay. Well, Mark, after that there was a motion to move that April 25th meeting to April 26th. Looks like the police department's going to hold a special meeting on heroin and substance abuse on the 25th. And the council just wanted to be able to be a part of that meeting.
Yeah, I think the council and administration just has a strong wanting to be there and show support for our police in this effort. It's just been a hot topic in the news lately. Other cities have had these meetings as well, and I think Florissant Police Department wanted to do it as well. Have this meeting on the heroin epidemic and what citizens can do, as well as the prescription drug phenomenon that's going on. And I think the council and staff just realized that, this is kind of really important. We would like to be in attendance and get a feel for this as well. So that's why we moved our council meeting off that Monday night to the following Tuesday. So it'll work. We've done it in the past. So,
Mark, that's it for the agenda. We've got another minute or two if you'd like to mention anything that's going on in your ward.
Well, there's only one thing going on in the ward, and probably by the time this airs, it'll be over, but we are having a ward meeting. Our neighborhood watch meeting on Thursday, Ward 7 and Ward 8, so I would invite everybody out there. The only other thing I kind of would like to touch on is we do have a couple of propositions that are on the ballot for Tuesday. That'll be on the ballot next Tuesday, April 5th. And I would encourage the citizens to get involved and get informed on those propositions. One is B, which is the dealers and the purchase of cars, trucks, boats, RVs outside of the city of Florissant and actually out of state. Those vehicles now presently are not taxed. If you buy a vehicle across state lines and you then title it in the city of Florissant, you pay state sales tax and county sales tax, but you don't pay Florissant sales tax because of a judge ruling a few years ago. So most municipalities, and you'll see this around the city and the county, that's a general proposition B is to basically put that back so that it's fair to everybody, that you do pay your fair taxes on it to the cities. Prop A and Prop R are specific to the city. Prop R deals with our residential vacant homes. Right now we have some problem vacant homes, and we have more of a problem getting a hold of or knowing who's involved with that vacant home, be it the homeowner, be it a city or a bank that's foreclosed on it. So we're requiring them to post a $200 fee every 6 months on that particular house so that we can keep a handle on what's going on with it and helps defray some of the costs that are involved with the city of dealing with these vacant homes. And A is the rental license fee. Right now our license fee is $15 per year for a rental landlord, regardless of how many pieces of property he has or units he has. The problem is it costs the city much more than that to properly address the landlords and rental homes and rental apartments. It costs the city almost $100 per unit over the year for all the paperwork involved, for maintaining that paperwork. And the problem is our homeowners are subsidizing that. They're picking up the tab for these landlords. So we thought it was only fair that we go to the voters and let them decide that maybe we should up that. And so we want the landlords to pay $50 per unit or per apartment fee yearly to help defray some of the costs that is really theirs. So
okay, and all those will be on the April 5th election?
Those will be on the April 5th ballot.
All right. Well, thank you for your time tonight, Mark. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Russell Inman. We'll see you next time.